to you by the Dressing Room Hair Spa. For a healthy hair and experience conveniently located in the metro Atlanta area. Why? Because you're worth it. So please visit www.thedressingroomhairspa.com.
Today, on Love and Entrepreneurship, we pick back up with Chris and Takita Morgan as they continue to discuss their journey.
Yeah, but before we get into all of that, I don't think we told the people like how long we've been together. Many years married, how long we've been together and walking this journey because it's been a long time.
Why don't you share?
Well, I've had the privilege and luxury to be with this beautiful woman here for 20 years now. We've been married for 17. And
we haven't reached the date. It's almost.
We've been married for 17 years. It's close enough. Weeks away at this point. So from this recording. So and literally 20 years in like 2 weeks. And then like 3-4 weeks later, 17 years of marriage. So we got 2 big anniversaries coming up. And it's been a hard road though. I'm not gonna lie, I say it's been easy. We worked through a lot of personal issues outside of entrepreneurship. But in this series, we're talking about love and entrepreneurship. So, let's talk about some things, how decisions either in or for entrepreneurship affected us at times. I've already admitted, my pride got in the way in a lot of areas. And it caused unnecessary arguments. And really, you were just trying your best to look out for me. But because I didn't want to hear you out, or I didn't think you knew enough about the business I'm in, I didn't want to give you that credit. I didn't want to listen. Or just, vice versa. It might have been some times where, something I did or didn't do for you and your business, or support wise. Since we were talking about support, they might have upset you and caused an argument. Is there a time that you can think about that, you were looking for support, or you were looking for something in business, or something happened in this entrepreneurial journey that, caused the rift between us? Because, I know one of the bigger things you ever told me was to properly support you in your business was to love you right at home. And because we had so many, issues outside of just entrepreneurship, just personal issues going on, that wasn't always the case. So, do you remember any times or anything you want to share about that?
So I guess if I could just think of maybe one thing. So as far as just not feeling like I had the support.
Yeah, that's all. Anything that's that caused the rift through entrepreneurship.
Well, because the journey was long for us, so we can probably write a book on the things. But I'd probably say just maybe like one of the smaller and general things is I felt like with your business, I was more like, how can I say it? Like I just saw a need. I saw where I could help and I just jumped in and helped. But I think like when it came to you, I felt like I had to ask all the time, make a special request, make an appointment, because you were always busy, so
right.
It's like always busy, always had your own thing going on, and you weren't like I said, asking me, you weren't jumping all over like every day. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? It was I felt like I had to make a special request, make an appointment with you to for anything, like if this might be broke, or can you come help me, do this or whatever the case may be. Um, that will probably be the general thing I can say. It's just when I didn't feel like the same the way that I helped you, I didn't feel that same for me. Like I said, how for me it was, he needs this, let me just do it, or
Right.
let me tell him he needs this, and I'm gonna do this
Right.
for him. And but I didn't feel like that was the same for me from you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but it was your fault.
Whatever that means.
She set me up. She set me up so good in business. I was always busy, so I didn't have a lot of time. But I will say I could have made more time.
Well, I guess I was Superwoman, so a lot of stuff came naturally to me. So I guess it didn't come as naturally to you when it came to those things. But in our life, we talked about we've been together for quite some time. We have well, at the time had kids.
Right.
So I was like everybody's manager pretty much.
Right.
I was your manager. I was the kids' manager.
Right.
My manager, if I chose to put myself in the equation, which I kind of put myself last or on the back burner most of the time. But so with me naturally being in that position for everybody, I just, if I'm your manager, I'm always gonna be bringing stuff to you, just jumping in where I see, the voids. But everybody didn't do that when it came to me. I kind of had to be like, I need you to do this, or you gonna do this, or
No, absolutely. I mean, I said that, jokingly, but as a compliment that, you set things up so well for my business that I was always on the go. But at the same time, you're absolutely right. Like, because you set me up so well, I just put my focus on keeping up. Versus, okay, how can I reciprocate this? And sometimes, I will say you spoiled us very much so with life.
I can agree.
And how, our life was organized. I didn't have to think about certain things. I would just go, she got it. And sometimes, if you're on that side of things, really appreciate it from your spouse, one, but also look for ways to take the burden off, I think. Because it's great, it's great that you can do all these things. You're walking in your calling, your purpose, the things you're good at, you're doing. But I believe, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that had you had a little more help on the back end with just, different things, household things, whatever the case, that would have probably helped you out a lot earlier in your business journey. Would you agree?
Yeah, and I know you jokingly said, it's my fault, but no, like, because that's a good point. Like, for me, it was natural to try to take care of everything and everybody, but I didn't know the cost of that, how it was going to cost me later. I didn't know the burnout that was going to come, even the slight resentment that was going to come later. Not personal really against y'all, but it's like, okay, what about me? Eventually, if you burn yourself out to that level, you're going to get to the what about me. So I did kind of put everybody in that position to they could flow so well, because I set up so much behind the scenes to make sure everybody was okay. But then when it came time for me, it's like, okay, now how do I get this done? That I'm putting all this energy here. How do I get this? And I guess I somehow was kind of just thinking it would flow that same way. But I realized, okay, I actually have to tell them this is what I need. I actually have to, make this request.
Right. So. Yeah, I never forget. There was a time where I was so accustomed to you handling things for me. You know, you were my manager. You were my catering manager. You were fielding the calls, setting up the meetings. You were going to meetings yourself, because especially in the beginning stages where I worked and I worked a job, excuse me, and was doing my business and stuff on the side while I was at work. 9 to 5, you would be handling, fielding calls, setting up meetings. I'd call you on lunch break or something. You'd be like, yeah, okay, we got an event this day, and we were, planning stuff. We knew my off days, all these things. But I never forget, it was like when that burnout did happen, and, like you said, some of that resentment set in. It was like, well, no, you're going to have to take this on for yourself, because it seems like I wanted more than you. And it wasn't that you wanted it more than me. I was just accustomed to you handling that part of it for me. And I was handling the back end. You book the clients, I would cook the food, and go and do. And when that happened, I guess the resentment kind of jumped ship. It came from you and came to me, because I'm like, well, darn, how you just gonna leave me like this? We've been doing this and got things going good, and now you just gonna leave me. Now I'm trying to work, 9 to 5 and field calls and, set up meetings, and I'm trying to do all these things, and I'm like, okay, which is fine because I can do it, but I guess when you get used, you got that cushion there, you get used to that, and I'm like, selfishly kind of just like, well, what about me? Putting myself
that's
first.
Where the relationship part gets deeper, because I know what you're talking about, but even from my side, the way I viewed that, the I wanted more than you time was because in entrepreneurship, we're set up to be burned out at any minute, and really what I saw was going on with you at that time is that you were burned out with the entrepreneurship thing, and because like I talked about on part one, it being a roller coaster, the highs and lows, the mountaintops and the valleys, and just of you having probably like a slow time or something, just being upset about job stuff and wishing your business was more, but you busy at work, you stressed out at work, so your business still needed you to keep going and keep working for you to get to a place where you didn't have to worry about your job no more. And when you got burned out and was just like, forget the business, I gotta focus on this job, I gotta get these hours, all that stuff. That's what I remember is me trying to push you to not forget your business while you were paying the bills with your job, and it seemed like you were doing that, and I'm like, okay, well, he going through his thing or whatever, let me keep doing let me keep doing this, doing that, getting the booking, doing all the stuff. I felt like I was carrying it along for you, while you were, focused on the stress of your job. And then I got burned out from that too. Like carrying the weight, because I'm like, okay, well, it was just natural to me. It was like, okay, your spouse, that's what marriage is. Your spouse gets tired, weak, you're supposed to be the stronger person for a season, whatever it could be, entrepreneur, any other part of life. But then once that, I guess, went happened too many times or went longer than I could handle and do my own thing at the same time, it's like, okay, I gotta make a choice here, because I can't even handle this no more. Like, somebody gotta, ain't nobody saying, well, while you worry about his business, I'm gonna do your business. So it's like, okay, I came to a point where it's like, okay, somebody gotta be about my business. So then I'm like, okay, well, I have a business and I have to be about it. So you know how to do this. I set you up. You know how this works. I'm fixing to go worry about my business now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I saw that time was, not that I just,
And I never forget. I'm like,
left, but
I mean, I'm being honest, right? I never forget. I'm like, how dare you? And really, I'm like, how dare you? Because here I am, I'm working crazy hours. We had some kind of rough times there. I'm working crazy hours. I don't have the time to field calls when they come in on the business line. I'm missing calls. I gotta call people back. I don't have the time, you know, when I get off. I'm tired now. I don't have the time to try to catch all this up now. I need to get some rest because I gotta be up crazy. I don't work long hours, 12 hours some days, 14, 15, 16 hours. And just working like crazy, supporting and trying to keep everything going. And like you said, it was a downtime in the business. It just wasn't enough coming in at the moment to kind of balance that way. I didn't have to work that way. And I'm like, how dare you leave me at this moment? But I'm actually grateful for it because for two reasons. One, you did need to focus on yourself. Uh, and I appreciate everything you ever did to get it kicked off. But two, it taught me that I needed to be in my own business, because sometimes as an entrepreneur, you always, you're in your own business, you own a job. And then, when you get a little bit of help, you start backing out of your business and you realize you don't know your business as well as you thought you did. And I mean, I remember, people asking about this, I send them straight to you. It's like, you need to know your website. You need to know the ins and outs of it. You need to know these things. And I'm like, well, that's what you're for. And, just really being lazy. That's really what it was about my business at the time. But I was just so accustomed to you being there. And that just really made me grow up. So like a little spoiled kid, I was kicking and screaming.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Yeah, like a little spoiled kid, I was kicking and screaming. And but that was a time of growth for me and for us. But that carried over into our relationship. And it was some, high tension days, a lot of arguing about it, feeling of resentment or, betrayal, some distrust now because I feel like, he just left me kind of hanging in this time and threw it all on me and just, go chase your dream, which I wanted you to do, but just not that way, I figured we could just keep working it the way it was working and we're just going to both grow. But what that also says, and this was what I was going to say earlier, selfishly wanting you just to help me continue to grow. But what you don't realize is how much is weighing the other person down when you can't blossom. Mm-hmm. Because, doing as much as you were doing for me, you couldn't effectively focus on, the dressing room. You couldn't effectively focus on marketing and growing, your thing. And, because, we're in two different fields, it's a totally different, field and things going on, we really have to, we really have to, balance your time and balance yourself. Because the same time, even though we're in different fields, the same time that you're doing things for me, you have things for you to do. Business hours is business hours and you need to be focused. And, mine was taking up enough of your time where you were only left with a corner of time so you couldn't grow. Mm-hmm. So, it was definitely needed for that. Which, also helped us learn to start implementing the two children we had.
Yeah, getting help, making it that definitely turned it into a family business. Well, family businesses, because whoever needed the help, we told the two kids, like, this is how you help. This is what we need from you. This is what you're gonna do. And I to this day, like, miss that time of saying, this is what you're gonna do. And there was no choice. Like, now with them being grown, it's like, can you? Yeah, ask nicely. Hope they can do it.
I think it's
Hope
probably
they're not busy.
I think that's probably 'cause I still owe them some money from when they were small.
Yeah, probably like, well, I gotta
He ain't
work
pay me
my job, or I gotta handle my business. But if you gonna pay me, you know, you
no
gotta.
music keepers, man. Pay your kids, man. No, we took care of them though, in different times. But sometimes, like even with my business, sometimes my margin is so slim, or just the way life worked, or at different times in our business, where we were event to event, nobody has a 9 to 5, you know, and we're event to event, and it just came down, hey, if you help me, I'll give you X, Y, Z. But then the time came and I couldn't afford to give you X, Y, Z, so I would try to give you a little bit, and they would kind of be disappointed sometimes, but that's some of the ups and downs, because we built our businesses from nothing. We didn't have loans, we didn't have family, that we called on, and everybody pitched in and invested in us. Everything we have today, we built, as they say, literally out of the mud. We got it from ground zero and built it to where we are and going to continue to grow. However, that does put strain on the family, and especially when you have two, let alone one business. Mind you, we're trying to both build two, so every dollar is going into investing in either or. And sometimes we're tearing the dollar in half, and you get this 50 cent, and I get this 50 cent, and we're trying to make it happen, along with, like we said, bills come every 30 days, and so it got to a point, so let's talk about this, because sometimes, or whether it's one entrepreneur or two in the home, sometimes the businesses is calling, and sometimes the businesses can be a leech, especially in the beginning of a small business and you're in the beginning stages.
I would say a baby.
Okay, a baby.
A child. So, like a baby, when they first born, everything.
Yeah.
They don't do nothing but need.
Right.
So it's like a business. I feel like in the baby stages, they just need.
Yeah.
There's always something,
And so that can cause some financial strain. So, tell me about the time, or talk about, expound, however you feel like going with this here. But when times were, we call them lean. When times were lean, what were your thoughts? Like, are we gonna make it? Am I gonna make it? Is he gonna make it? What are we doing here? Tell me some of your thoughts. Because I mean, I know clearly, I think we said this already. There was one time you begged me not to even quit my 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And hold on.
Still in the beginning stages, I would say, of my business that I have now today. But well, I mean, even like during lean times, I would say it didn't necessarily bring out the worst in me at first. It was more so like it made me search. It was more so like, okay, what do I know how to do? Where can I go to find out how I can make this work with what I have? I would go to free stuff. I would read, things, and I would actually get little nuggets that I would apply that actually helped. Right. Like, okay, and it may have not even been anything like necessarily monetary at the moment. It might have been something that just took a burden off in a certain area. It would have been like, oh, I was doing this like this, but now that I have this, I don't even have to put as much energy into that as I was before, which in turn will still have a monetary effect, later.
I'll give you that credit, because excuse me, you were doing things 10 years ago before they became popular, like things that are popular now with all the SEO stuff, people trying to talk about and sell. You were in those hotels, and they were pitching this stuff to people, drop shipping, all this other stuff, SEO stuff, Google Analytics. You were taking all these free courses, You know, obviously they're trying to get you to buy, but they give you some sort of nugget to draw you in, or give you some information so you would take that.
I was soaking up what
Yeah,
free
and everything you did is what set our systems up to where they operate now today. The things people are learning we already had this set up, and this is what allowed us to operate. And you start piecing enough of those classes together, you get the whole course really. And it's not because we don't want, don't listen. You get mentorship, you know, get mentorship. We're not saying be cheap and don't pay for help. What we're saying is, what she did was, she did whatever we had to do to learn. We didn't have the money.
You said, when times were lean.
Yeah, we didn't have the money to afford to pay for, these $1,000 mentorship programs and stuff like that, which are helpful and great in some instances. However, we didn't have that. So, once again, we were getting everything out of the mud. And so, sometimes some people don't want to help when you're not spending the money. But for us, it was like, there's no way we're staying here. We're scrapping from the bottom. We're breaking some generational curses. Whatever we got to do, we're going to make this happen. Whoever we got to sit under, how we got to learn. If I got to sit out, sneak to the building and sit outside the door and listen in, that's what we're going to do until we can go inside. And that's just, that was, that entrepreneurial hustler's mentality. And I'm grateful for it because, during that time, once again, working 9 to 5, I didn't have time to go to these things. She brought a lot of knowledge back to me. Hey, we're going to do this. We're going to set it up like this. Oh, okay, cool. The times I did get to go, were cool. And then I kind of got burnt out with the little free gifts and bad food. And I'm like, all right, you could just keep doing that. But, it was a great thing that you did. However, when you're doing these things and you're learning and you're putting these systems in place and everything's not going, and you talked about I would place the business on the back burner because, I'm working a 9 to 5, I'm doing my business. Not enough business is being booked at the moment. And when you kind of handed things back to me and say, okay, you straight now, here you go. And I'm trying to work a job and run a business because still shifting into that entrepreneur mindset. I would just say, okay, you know what? I can pick this up anytime. Boom. I'm not posting anymore. I'm not doing it. I'm not, advertising anymore. I'm not doing these things. I'm just focused on work. I'll just work the overtime because I need the money to pay the bills. It's much easier. But then all of my time is gone. And let's talk about that because, like, even when we first got married, I'm trying to do this stuff, but I was working 2 jobs. And I remember even wondering, why did we get married? It's like, I never see you guys. I was doing the work at, God knows when in the morning and getting off from that job in the afternoon, having 30 minutes to get to the next job and getting off, 30 minutes before God knows what in the morning. Come in, shower, take like 3 breaths in the bed and then go right back to my job again. I worked so long on jobs at times, trying to be dedicated and make the money and the hours I needed to get that I missed a lot of time with my family. I missed a lot of time, quality time with my wife. That's her, that's your love language. And so, I'm doing all these things to quote unquote provide. And sometimes, you say, well, get a better job or, and sometimes it's not really worth it. You taught me that, like, count the cost. So I'm chasing these jobs, more money, but it's costing me, the extra money I was making, it was costing me in travel, wear and tear on the car, different things like that. And I had to continuously elevate myself until I can get to a place. And then even when I got to a place, kids grow, needs grow. When they get in teenage stage, things cost more, they want more. Try to afford them opportunities, sports and different things. Like girls ran track, so paying for these different things. So, and still trying to build businesses. So, how did that really affect you? With me being gone all the time. you know, and possibly feeling like you weren't getting the help you needed at home?
Honestly, the home thing, I felt like that was I felt pretty okay there. I felt like that was um under control a lot of the times, unless just something outside of the routine took place that would kind of take me somewhere,
Right.
like, one of the kids decided to act up one day, or just something went wrong at the house or whatever. But like, if I was flowing in my routine, I was okay. In the home life, I think more what really got into my thoughts, I would say, is okay, where are we going with this? What is this leading us to? Where is this taking us? Like, what's the next step from here? Or is it I mean, because you could do that type of stuff with your life and blink, and 10 years done went by,
Yeah.
and 20 years went by. So I think really when I had, I don't know, concerns or whatever the case may be, it would more so just be, what is this for? Where are we going from? Where is this gonna take us? Because it, I was, once it went on for some time, I could start to see that it was just a circle.
Mm-hmm.
It was a rut. It was the hamster wheel,
Going
the
around
rat race.
Yeah.
I could start to see all those things come alive. So it's like, okay, well, the worst thing, I guess probably my worst concern in life, period, was being stuck. I never wanted to be stuck. Like, I'm an advancing, like, progression type of person. It's like, once I do something, it's like, okay, what's next? Okay, I did that. Okay, what's next?
Right.
Like, so it wasn't doing that. It was just
Here we go
keeping
again.
the lights on.
Yeah.
Got somewhere to stay.
Yeah.
We made it past it, got that paid, don't have nothing left, but
Yeah.
at least the bills paid,
Yeah. And I mean, I was kind of the person, I was kind of the one that was just like, okay, well, I gotta do this because I gotta pay the bills. You got your business. I gotta help you. I gotta maintain these bills. I gotta make sure all the stuff, for the girls, because you're in the beginning stages of your business as well throughout some of this time. And it's like, I got, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I got the world on my back at times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what do you mean? Where are we going?
So do you want to go ahead and get dirty with the conversation and talk about how you was feeling during that time? Because we talking about love and entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And we have to be honest, and really get down and dirty with the stuff. And there's times where, life pressures you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you don't know what to expect. You're concerned about the future. You're tired. You're weary. All these different things that just happen are a part of adult life. So it's safe to say, okay, sometimes you do feel like blaming your spouse. You get resentful. So talk about.
So for me, it wasn't necessary